Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So continuing with the discussion on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 12, the cleansing of the Gundicha temple, text 45 onwards. So all the devotees petitioning Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to meet King Prataprudra, and now Ramanand Rai, he came and he was asking Mahaprabhu to meet Maharaj Prataprudra. उत्कंठते प्रताप रुद्र नारे रही बारे रामानंद साधिलेन प्रभु रे मिलिबारे. Maharaj Pratap Rudra, in great anxiety, could not endure not seeing the Lord. Therefore, Sri Ramanand Rai, by his diplomacy, arranged a meeting with the Lord for the king. रामानंद प्रभु पाए कैला निवेदना एक बार प्रताप रुद्रे देखा चराना. Sri Ramanand Rai frankly requested Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please show your lotus feet to the king at least once. Prabhu kahe Ramananda kah vichariya Raja ke milita jo aaye sannyasi haya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, my dear Ramananda, you should make this request after duly considering whether it is befitting for a sannyasi to meet a king. Raja Ramilane Bhikshu Kera Dui Loka Nasha Para Loka Rahu Loke Kare Upahasa. If a mendicant meets a king, this world and the next world are both destroyed for the mendicant. Indeed, what is there to say of the next world? In this world, people will joke if a sannyasi meets a king. Ramananda kahe tumi Ishwara Swatantra Kare tomar bhai tumi naha paratantra. Ramanand Rai replied, my lord, you are the supreme independent personality. You have nothing to fear from anyone because you are not dependent on anyone. Prabhu kahe ami manushya ashrame sannyasi kahe mano vakya vyavahare bhayavasi. When Ramanand Rai addressed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu objected, saying, I'm not the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but an ordinary human being in the renounced order of life. Therefore, I must fear public opinion in three ways, with my body, mind, and words. Shukla Vastre Masi Bindu Yache na lukaye Sanyasira Alpa Chidra Sarvaloka gaye. As soon as the general public finds a little fault in the behavior of a sannyasi, they advertise it like wildfire. A black spot of ink cannot be hidden on a white cloth. It is always very prominent. Rai gahe kat papir kari acha avyahati Ishwara sevak tomar bhakta gajapati. Ramanand Rai replied, my dear Lord, you have delivered so many sinful people. This king Prataprudra, the king of Odisha, is actually a servitor of the Lord and your devotee. Prabhu kehe purna yache dugdhi rakalasha sura bindu pate keha nakare parasha. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then said, there may be much milk in a big pot, but if it is contaminated by a drop of liquor, it is untouchable. So if a pot is contaminated by a drop of liquor, in Bhagavatam also, Prabhupada said in one place that it cannot be cleansed. You have to just throw it away. Just one drop of liquor. Yadhyapi Pratap Rudra Sarva Gunavan Tahare Malin Kaila Ek Rajanam. The king certainly possesses all good qualities, but simply by taking up the name king, he has infected everything. तथापि तुम्हार यदि महा आग्रह है, तबे आनी मिली हा तुम्ही ताहार तनाया. But if you are still very eager for the king to meet with me, please first bring his son to meet me. आत्मवाई जायते पुत्र यही शास्त्र वाणी पुत्र मिलने ये ना मिली दे आपानी. It is indicated in the revealed scriptures that the son represents the father. Therefore, the son's meeting with me would be just as good as the king's meeting with me. In Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Atma vai putra utpanna iti vedanushasana. The Vedas enjoin that one is born as his own son. The son is non-different from the father, and this is admitted in every revealed scripture. In Christian theology, it is believed that Christ, the Son of God, is also God, or in other words, that they are identical. So finally, Mahaprabhu found a solution. He said, I'll meet the son, it is as good as meeting the father. तबे राय आई सब राजा रे कहिला प्रभुर आज्ञाए तारा पुत्र लय आइला. Ramanand Rai then went to inform the king about his talks with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and following the Lord's orders, brought the king's son to see him. Sundar Rajar Putra Shyamala Varana Kishore Vayas Dirgha Kamalanayan. The prince, just entering upon his youth, was very beautiful. He was blackish in complexion and had large lotus eyes. Pitambar dhare ange ratna abharan Shri Krishna smarane teha Haila. The prince was dressed in yellow cloth, and there were jeweled ornaments decorating his body. Therefore, anyone who saw him would remember Lord Krishna. Tare deki Mahaprabhu Krishna smriti haila Prema veshe tare mili kahite lagila. Seeing the boy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately remembered Krishna. Meeting the boy in ecstatic love, the Lord began to speak. Ei Mahabhagvat Tyahara Darshane Vrajendra Nandan Smriti Hai Sarvajane. Here is a great devotee, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. Upon seeing him, everyone can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda. In his Anubhashya, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur states that a materialist mistakenly accepts the body and mind as a source of material enjoyment. In other words, a materialist accepts the bodily conception of life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not regard the son of Maharaj Pratap Rudra with the idea that he was a materialist, being the son of a materialist. Nor did he consider himself the enjoyer. Mayavadi philosophers make a great mistake by assuming that the Satchitananda Vigraha, the transcendental form of the Lord, is like a material body. However, there is no material contamination in transcendence, nor is there any possibility of imagining a spirituality in matter. One cannot accept matter as spirit, as indicated by the technical words Bhoma Ijjati. Materialistic Mayavadis imagine the form of God in matter, although according to the imagination, God is ultimately formless. This is simply mental speculation. Even though Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he placed himself in the position of a gopi. He also accepted the king's son directly as the son of Maharaj Nanda, Brajendra Nandan Hari. This is perfect vision according to the direction of Vedic culture, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Pandita Samadarshina. Such acceptance of the absolute truth, according to Vaishnava philosophy, is explained in both the Mundak Upanishad and Katha Upanishad in the following words. Nayam Atma Pravachanena Lebhyo. The Supreme Lord is not obtained by expert explanations, by vast intelligence, not even by much hearing. He is obtained only by one whom he himself chooses. To such a person, he manifests his own form. So this son of Maharaj Pratap Rudra, Mahaprabhu said, everyone can remember, seeing him, everyone can remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. It's not that the son became Krishna. It just reminded him of Krishna. So that is Udipan. But this is what Prabhupada is saying. Mayavadi philosophy is they become Krishna. No, we don't become Krishna. We don't become God. The living entity is entangled in material existence due to his lack of such spiritual vision. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung in his Kalyana Kalpataru, Sansare Asiya Prakriti Bhajiya Purusha Bhimane Mari. When the living entity comes to the material world, he thinks himself the enjoyer. Thus he becomes more and more entangled. Kritartha haila ami ihar darshane eta bali puna tare kaila lingane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, I have become very much obligated just by seeing this boy. After saying this, the Lord again embraced the prince. Prabhu Sparshe Rajaputrera Haila Prema Vesha Shveda Kampa Ashru Stamba Pulaka Vishesha. As soon as the prince was touched by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, symptoms of ecstatic love immediately manifested themselves in his body. These symptoms included perspiration, trembling, tears, being stunned and jubilation. Krishna Krishna kahe nache kare rodana, tar bhagya dekhi shlaga kare bhaktagana. The boy began to cry and dance and he chanted Krishna, Krishna. Upon seeing his body symptoms and his chanting and dancing, all the devotees praised him for his great spiritual fortune. So all the devotees are praising him. And this, again, they were not envious of him. Why he is getting embraced by the Lord, why we are not getting, he's just a little boy. And everybody can come up with so many faults if that's what we want to see. But they can see also the mercy of the Lord upon the boy and the great fortune of that little boy. It just depends what qualities we have developed inside us, and based on the consciousness. This is how we see outside. It depends on what we have developed inside. We all are in a relative world. We are not in the absolute world, and we are not in absolute consciousness. We all here, thinking, seeing everything. In fact, we hear also, relatively. It depends on what we hear, how we hear. And all is based on our consciousness. What have we developed? Just like a nice example is given, what do we get when we squeeze an orange? It's easy, right? We get orange juice. We're not going to get mango juice or apple juice or grape juice. No, we get orange juice because that is what's inside. So, of course, squeezing is like if a devotee is put into trouble, or any obstacle or anything, setback happens in his life, or some situation like that happens. So what will come out is what is inside. If he has developed tolerance, humility, perseverance, and full surrender, full faith in the Lord, in the holy name of the Lord, So whenever he is in trouble, the holy name will come up. And if we still have those material qualities in us, then depending on how big the trouble is, or how big the what kind of situation is, we might start using foul language, abusing others, or take revenge, or do something. It depends what is inside us. And although every soul is divine, every single soul is divine, part and parcel of Krishna, but this contamination of consciousness or covering up of consciousness, it depends how contaminated it is and how thick the covering is. So this is what bhakti is. It is either we can say purifying our consciousness or removing the covering. It's up to us how much covering we want to remove and how much the divine qualities should shine forth. It's all up to us. And look at these devotees. First they were praising Haridas Thakur, how much mercy he got of the Lord. Now they're praising the son of Maharaj Pratap for his great spiritual fortune. तबे महाप्रभु तारे धैर्य कराई ना नित्य आसी आमाय मिली हाई आज्ञा देना. At that time, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calmed the youth and ordered him to come there daily to meet him. Viday haya rai aila Raja putra laya Raja sukha paila putrera cheshta dekhiya. Ramanand Rai and the boy then departed from Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Ramanand took him back to the king's palace. The king was very happy when he heard of his son's activities. Putre alingan kari prema vishtahaila sakshat parashajena Mahaprabhu rupaila. Just by embracing his son, the king was filled with ecstatic love, just as if he had touched Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. Sei haite bhagyavan Raja Ranandan Prabhu Bhakta Gana Madhya Lila Jan. From then on, the fortunate prince was one of the most intimate devotees of the Lord. In this regard, Srila Prabodhanand Saraswati writes, Yat Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavanta. If Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu simply glanced at someone for a moment, that person immediately turned into one of the most confidential devotees of the Lord. The prince came to see the Lord for the first time, but by the Lord's mercy, the boy immediately became a topmost devotee. So, Yatta Karunya Kataksha Vaibhavata. So, Mahaprabhu, if you just glance at somebody, the person can become the topmost devotee. So this was not in theory, but in practice. We cannot apply the Nagna Matrik Nyaya formula. So what is Nagna Matrik Nyaya? This states that if one's mother was naked in her childhood, she should continue to remain naked, even though she has become the mother of so many children. So what does that mean? All it means is, sometimes people have this misconception that if somebody is born in a Shudra family, then he is a Shudra. He cannot change throughout his life. If somebody is a non-devotee, he shall remain non-devotee. He has to be born in a devotee family to be a devotee. No. This is Nagna Matrik Nyaya. But this is what is not true. If a person is actually blessed by the mercy of the Lord, he can immediately become a topmost devotee of the Lord. The logic of Nagna Matrik states that if a person is not elevated on such and such a date, he cannot become an exalted devotee overnight, as it were. This particular instance offers evidence to contradict that theory. On the previous day, the boy was simply an ordinary prince, and the next day, he was counted as one of the topmost devotees of the Lord. This was all made possible by the causeless mercy of the Lord. The Lord is omnipotent, all powerful or almighty, and he can act as he likes. So he can do anything. What's so difficult for the Lord to do? He doesn't always do that. Because the conditioned soul has to make his own attempt also. He has to try, sincerely endeavor. ए मत महाप्रभु भक्त गण संगे निरंतर क्रीड़ा करे संकीर्तन रंगे. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu acted in this society of his pure devotees, performing his pastimes and spreading the Sankirtan movement. Acharya adi bhakta kare prabhu rani mantran, taha taha bhiksha kare laya bhakta gan. Some of the prominent devotees like Advaita Acharya used to invite Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to take his meals at their homes. The Lord accepted such invitations accompanied by his devotees. Ei mata nana range tin kat gela, Jagannathera dath jatra nikat haila. In this way, the Lord passed some days in great jubilation. Then the car festival of Lord Jagannath approached. प्रथमे काशी मिश्र प्रभु बोलाइला, परीक्षा पात्र सार्वभौमे बोलाया अनिला. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first of all called for Kashi Mishra, then for the superintendent of the temple, then for Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Tin jan pashe Prabhu hasiya kahila, Gundicha mandir marjan seva maginila. When these three people came before the Lord, he begged them for permission to wash the temple known as Gundicha. The Gundicha temple is situated 2 miles northeast of the Jagannath temple. At the time of Rath Yatra festival, Lord Jagannath goes to the Gundicha temple from his original temple and stays there for 1 week. After 1 week, he returns to his original temple. It is understood by hearsay that the wife of Indradyumna, the king who established the Jagannath temple, was known as Gundicha. There is also mention of the name of Gundicha temple in authoritative scriptures. The area of the Gundicha temple is estimated to be 288 cubits by 215 cubits. A cubit is about 1.5 feet. The main temple inside is about 36 cubits by 30 cubits, and the Kirtan hall is 32 cubits by 30 cubits. So why this Gundicha temple? Why the name Gundicha? So she was the wife of King Indradyumna. So we know the story how Jagannath ji appeared as a deity form. So these deities were being carved inside the room, and the carver had told Maharaj that you just let me work, don't knock on the door, don't open the door, and when it is finished, I'll come out. And if you knock on the door, if you try to enter, I'll disappear. So the work went on. I'm forgetting for how many days exactly. And one day, there was no sound coming from the room, no sound of sculpting. So this Maharani Gundicha, she asked King that, please open the door, see what is happening. Maybe because the sculptor was very old, maybe he died. We don't know. There's no sound. And King Indradyumna was, no, we have to wait because he put this condition, don't come in. And it was Maharani Gundicha who kind of forced King Indradyumna, to open the door. And when he opened the door, the sculptor was gone, and there was Vigraha of Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, and Sudarshan. And it looked like they were not complete. So then either king saw in the dream, or there was a Akashvani that this is how I want it to appear. So that is why now Queen Gundicha, because she forced the king, so her name became like very important, and that is why this temple is known as Gundicha temple, and it is not different from Vrindavan. So, and Lord Jagannath stays there for 1 week, as Prabhupada mentions. And in fact, when the Rath Yatra ends in the evening, that evening, the whole night, Lord stays outside on the chariot. And next evening, again, the ramp is made, and again with full procession, Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, they go inside the temple. And then the following day, because that again happens in the evening, and the following day, the first bhoga is offered to the Lord in Gundicha temple. It is cooked over there only. And that prasadam, of course, every prasadam is great, but that prasadam is considered super great, because the first prasadam, first bhoga he has, full meal he has since he got sick on Snan Yatra. So this is first full-fledged meal, and there's a meal in Vrindavan or Gundicha temple, and it's obviously every meal, every prasadam of Lord Jagannath is very, very tasty, very nice. But this one is super special, actually. Okay, I guess I can stop here. See, anybody has any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. I didn't know
Thank
that.
you.
Very nice class.
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you much. Okay, you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.